Hi, I'm Sandy Schreck for Smithers OASIS, and today we're going to be taking a look at the art of wiring and taping a corsage. We start off with choosing the wire. So the wire comes in a variety of sizes, usually the higher number, the smaller the gauge. And so this can be 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and 26. For corsage work, I predominantly use the 22 and 24 wire. Sometimes for bracing, I'll use the stronger wire, but the heavier wire are things I use for armatures. So the next thing that we're going to take a look at, so floor tape comes in a variety of colors now. And today for our demonstration, we're actually going to be using the black. We'll start off with the 22, and we're going to cut it in half. No sense to wire it all the way down when you're not going to need that much. And we'll take a look at a couple methods of wiring. This is a rose, and so what I'm going to do is just cut off some of the stem. I'm going to go into the calyx here, and this technique is called a cross pierce. So I'm going to come across here, and then the key on this is not to go at the same place because you're going to cut that rose in half. So we're going to go below that to do the other wire and come in and gather those down. So that's for something larger. That technique would be used in a carnation or a standard rose for extra strength. Then I'm going to use the floral tape, and this tape does not stick to anything but itself. It's a wax-based tape. I'm going to start off with just going around once. Now I've gotten it tighter. So now I'm going to come up, go up, and then back down, and at that point I'm almost pulling this tape straight down, and that'll get me a really thin layer of tape. My final process is that I just run down that to get a clean stem on there. Another technique would be the hook technique. And on this one here, what we're going to do is just go up through the flower head. Going to do a little bit of a hook up on top, and then come back down into that flower head and hide that hook. I'm going to do the same technique on taping here. Down, back up, and then almost straight down, and no need to tape it down any further. The ranunculus, I would use the little bit heavier wire. This has a hollow stem, so what I'm going to do is just a bracing technique. So I'm just going to come in and just add some strength into that stem. I'm going to start down here at the bottom. With it being a hollow stem, it can kind of be very soft. So I'm just being gentle to the tape on there, and then come back and now getting it tight once I've just gotten to my wire. But that works very well. Wiring and taping is a great way to reinforce a stem. On the cymbidium, you could do the cross pierce or do a hairpin. So a hairpin is just like here, and we're just going to come down into the throat of that and bury that wire. hairpin method would also be done on a dendrobium. We can do the same thing. Some of my fillers and my foliages, I'm not going to take the time to wire. Those I can just lay in. Some of my favorites include the Israeli ruscus, the Italian ruscus, some tree fern coming in, textural influences coming in with the hypericum. Here's some different limoniums. But those I'm just going to lay in as I'm making that corsage. Okay, then we're ready to take a look at putting a corsage together. So you're going to gather your materials. Lots of times traditionally there will be a bow involved, and I'm fine with that. It makes a good structure to start off with. What we're going to do is just start by layering our materials, and this essentially is going to be a shoulder corsage. So you think about tiering things down, and here I'm just going to be laying in some of that filler flower, and then also some of the Italian ruscus just coming in. And so I lay a bunch of materials together. Just going to do about 2 twists on that. I can do a little bit of the Israeli ruscus. If you just turn it backwards, it turns into itself, and so you're able to get a good start there. And then at this point you could lay in your bow. There, I'm just going to pinch that and then add my floral materials into the bow on the bottom side and the top side, so it kind of becomes more of a backer. And I'm just pinching it, laying in a little bit of the filler materials and foliages. So I'm not wiring and taping those separate. I'm not adding that extra labor into that. And then I'm going to think about this one coming back here, and so I'm actually going to tape a little bit of a end on here, ready that it can come backwards. It's going to help to hide my stem. And then we're just going to bring this guy with it. So as I'm putting it in, I'm going to almost smash it up in here like this, but then plan on flipping it down backwards over that stem, hiding that mechanic. So now I marry the two. That stem off. And then just come back and do a little bit of shaping. So those wires allow us control over the material. Pull the bow back through a little bit. And there you can see I've hidden that stem that comes down, and it'll sit very nicely on the shoulder. Let's take a look at another style on this. And we're just gonna do a little bit more of a round style on here. We're gonna think about these two coming together right away. And rather than a bow, I'm just gonna come in with some other accents. So I'm just laying this together, doing one little twist around, and then adding some of my foliages and accent pieces. So you just lay it in, pinch it, and then come around, and now we're gonna do a little bit, and then add in 2 other pieces of softer foliages, a little bit of accent filler. You can see some of these pieces with a stronger stem, I'm not wiring and taping. In this case, I would potentially, because I don't want that big a stem to go in there and it'll add a lot of weight. So I'm just gonna use these little side shoots. Come in and grab those there. It's kind of like the little pearls. You're making floral jewelry. Here and then cut it off. Make sure you don't have a sharp end. And then I'm gonna come back and now start shaping those wired florets a little bit, giving a little bit of space and dimension to this. And it could even be just tied onto a wristlet. In this case, I would not tie way down here where the stem is, but I'm gonna bring that tie right through the middle of this corsage. But there you can see that you're able to use it in a wristlet application as well. I hope you were able to learn some techniques and tips on how to wire and tape a corsage. I'm Sandy Schreck, Design Director for Smithers OASIS.